Welcome to GRCAM Virtual Conference. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbee. Please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this video podcast with your friends, ladies and gentlemen. We ask that you do this because we want others to know that we're here. Help make this video go viral by posting it to your Facebook page, your Instagram page, and your Twitter page. This video podcast is available in 3 forms: audio, video, and as a written text, in order for us to reach our audience. I have 11,000 views on my YouTube page, yet only 310 subscribers. Please subscribe. It's free, and this will help get the ball rolling. In order to follow along with my presentation, I strongly recommend everyone on my Facebook friends list to please exchange emails with me so that I can email you everything I do online. Also, I would like for my listeners to follow me on my Medium page. This is where I post my actual speech. I provide all of my sources under Show and Prove. I recommend that you watch the video clips to fully understand what's happening in America and around the globe. I use this platform to interact with everyone on my friends list and everyone in my social groups by giving Black business owners free airtime to promote their products and services. I give people in the faith community an opportunity to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, and ordinary law-abiding citizens an opportunity to share their special talents and skills to my listeners from around the globe. After the show, I offer my guest speakers an incentive by teaching them how to create their own podcast and YouTube channel to help them earn extra revenue during COVID-19. I also assist people on my friends list with creating basic websites, finding college scholarships and grants, housing, and legal services, all for free. I want to create things like films and Black businesses in the Black community. I don't want to be online begging. I want to exchange something of value. My thing is, if I am going to ask for something, then I'm going to have a product or service behind it. I want everyone on my friends list and everyone in my social groups to please donate to our film project, because out of 1,600 people on my friends list, only 3 people have donated to our film project since March of this year. This is not cool, and that's not fair. The reason why we are hosting these monthly virtual conferences is to encourage our listeners from around the globe to support our film project. The proceeds from the film will put me in a better position financially to hire qualified Black middle-class professionals, buy office equipment, and purchase property for our Christian business, GRCAI of Chicago, which is the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. Eventually, we will launch our African and Caribbean tour so that we can reconnect the diaspora with Continental Africans from my African group, GRCAI of Africa. We aim to set up chapters in 10 African nations so that we can host international trade among our people. This will be a win-win for our people who are trapped in American ghettos, because we can sell our films, artwork, and music to our brothers and sisters on the continent. In contrast, I will bring the best of the diaspora with me during our African trips to meet African entrepreneurs who will sell their products like beauty supply, artwork, food, etc. This will also help improve the African economy, because Black Americans as a collective have a $1 trillion spending power. I'm using GoFundMe as a crowdfunding source so that everyone knows exactly where the funds are going towards. Once we reach 200,000, then we will work on doing the movie trailer. Our goal is to raise 500,000 in order to make a quality Black empowerment film based on my revised book, quote, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, 2nd edition. The title of the film is Hood Liberator, Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins. The sequel, African Liberator, Battle Against the Colonized Mindset. It will be made in South Africa. Without support from the black grassroots and the global African family, I am unable to make my film and do my job. The ball is in their hands. Instructions on how to participate on the show. First, watch my video podcast. This is called Side A. After I finish my presentation, then I will open up the phone lines through Facebook Messenger. This is called Side B. You can interact with me in real time, either by voice call by clicking on the phone icon, or by video call by clicking on the camera icon. After I finish my pep talk, then I will call on our contributors who will give their perspective about the topic from a spiritual viewpoint. Then we will open up the discussion for Q&A to our listeners worldwide. Today's theme, healing from Willie Lynch for the diaspora and healing from the colonized mindset for Continental Africans. This is the most taboo topic in Black America because Black people have not completely confronted this issue, let alone healed from its negative impact it has played in Black society. Our film project, Hood Liberator, Made in Chicago, The War Against Willie Lynch Begins, is based on my revised book. No one from my friends list answered my question when I did my virtual conference on July 30th, entitled, What's Up, Black Grassroots and the Global African Family? When will we get this film project fully funded and made? And I'm still waiting for someone to respond to that. We will begin with the Willie Lynch letter, which was shared to an audience on the bank of the James River in Virginia in 1712 regarding controlling of slaves within the colony. Many people believe that this letter was a hoax. I say to each his own. This letter gives specific instructions to American slave owners how they can control their African slaves by setting them against each other. He explained to them that their current violent method of handling unruly African slaves by lynching them was counterproductive from a business standpoint. Instead, Willie Lynch, he said, if they adopt his method, which consists of exploiting the differences such as age, field slaves and house slaves, as well as skin color, light skin slaves versus dark skin slaves, can be used to pit slaves against each other. This method, he asserts, his audience will control African slaves for the next 400 years. Our ancestors were forced to come to the United States of America against their will. They were stripped of their culture, language, and religion. Today, so-called black organizations like the Congressional Black Caucus, the National Urban League, and so-called black leaders like Representative James E. Clyburn are just a front for the financial elites. They do nothing for black people. Clyburn has been in public office for 30 years. He has the worst district in the South, yet off-code Negroes continue to vote for him. This is Willie Lynch in real time. Black America failed George Floyd. No one intervened on his behalf. They just video record him while he was dying in the streets. This was a murder, modern day lynching. The exact same thing happened to Eric Garner. For 30 years, Black America has rejected my vision and plan. This is why I created the Grassroots Community Activist Movement, to connect with other like-minded black people and African people who would work with me in turning my ideas into a reality. After 15 years of being ignored, I wrote and published my revised book. It has been on Amazon for 10 years, and yet it is still barely selling. I created a virtual store in hopes of raising enough capital to jumpstart my nonprofit, faith-based, and community advocacy organization, Rakai of Chicago. Our mission is to eradicate urban violence in Chicago through art, culture, commerce, and spiritual development. I am called by my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to rebuild our inner cities in America, starting in Chicago, similar to that of Nehemiah, who was called by God to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. Nehemiah used qualified engineers, architects, and inventors to rebuild a new city. Likewise, I want qualified black middle-class professionals within the United States of America who will come forth and work with me in making sure that our business will be effective and successful for years to come. Rakai of Chicago will be a multi-purpose facility. We will offer quality programs and services to our members and students in the black community. Rakai of Chicago will operate under 7 separate functions, all under one roof. 1. A social service component. 2. A spiritual component, optional for secular people. 3. A spiritual component. 4. An entertainment component. 5. An entrepreneur component. 6. A black media component, known as New Black Voices of Media. 7. A health and wellness component. We will turn all of my ideas into a reality through our films, stage plays, and music. This will create jobs for our black youth. Our goal is to create original stories and challenge the minds as well as entertain. We believe in creating our own black businesses to help black people cultivate the skills needed to effectively and successfully navigate the modern workforce and achieve self-sufficiency. Because Chicago's spiritual component is geared for the greater works and will be a hub for believers or those who want to operate in what Jesus told us to operate in, which is greater works. Our focus is on revitalizing black neighborhoods by investing in the development of its residents. Our belief is that jobs are the vehicle for the individual to move from being a recipient to a contributor in their neighborhood, resulting in long-term neighborhood stabilization. The goal of the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago is about creating a pathway that will lead to job creation in the heart of the black community. We will also host African/Caribbean tours in order to reconnect the diaspora with Continental Africans from my African group, Rakai of Africa. Building Rakai of Chicago will be beneficial for both the diaspora and Continental Africans. The Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago will invest in Africa by assisting in building infrastructure and bringing business development to African nations where we set up chapters. We want African entrepreneurs to host international trade among black entrepreneurs in order to help improve our inner city, starting in Chicago. The goal is to match African entrepreneurs with black entrepreneurs so that we can do international trade among our people and others. We also want to match African artists with black artists. I will lead by example by applying for dual citizenship in South Africa. We also plan on visiting the Caribbean nations, such places as the Bahamas, Barbados, Haiti, Jamaica, and Trinidad, as well as Brazil. We want to connect with the black Caribbean nations in order to boost trade among black Americans and work together as an economic unit. So far, I have only made $1,000 from my online virtual store. Our film project is my last attempt to try to do something positive for my racial group in America. This vision is bigger than me, and I'm doing this for our black youth who are trapped in American ghettos. I am not affiliated with anyone because no one wanted to be a part of this. Mark my words, once I start making money and this Christian business is up and running, everyone in Chicago, including my family members, will want to be a part of it. But ain't nothing changing on my end. I'm still going to be saying the same thing I've been saying for the past 30 years. My message has always remained the same. Black America has two choices: either embrace annihilation or embrace survival. I don't want to die in America. I want to get this business up and running in America first for credibility. I will invite my international friends who came on my online talk show to speak at our live events. Before I cut and run to Africa, I want to make sure that I'm able to sustain myself and be in a position financially to hire local Africans from my African group, Rakai of Africa. What makes us different from other black organizations is that we will take the lead in raising the standard or the bar in black America. Once Rakai of Chicago is established, we will separate ourselves from degenerates in black society by holding mandatory orientations. People who are interested in becoming members must pass our criminal background checks, sign the community pledge, and submit their thumbprint in order for us to weed out hardened criminals, off-code Negroes, urban terrorists, con artists, pedophiles, and active gang members. We will offer a second chance program for ex-offenders, former gang members, and homeless individuals within the community. My revised book is the foundation of my Christian business. Since Black America has rejected my vision and plan, this business will be membership-based. How is Willie Lynch affecting Black America today? I found an article from CNN entitled "Football quote Youth Football Coach Killed." Suspect accused of shooting a coach during a Dallas area youth football team turned himself in. And his name is pronounced Kahu Taylor, 39, in the fatal shooting of Michael Hickman, 43 years old. Police in the Dallas area. According to witness, Taylor pulled out a gun and shot Hickman multiple times after a disagreement between the opposing coaching staff of two youth football teams over calls made by the referee led to a physical fight, police said. Hickman was later pronounced dead at a hospital. A black football coach murdered another football coach. It's really sad. When we talk about the survival of black males in America, the death rate is higher compared to other male groups in America. From my understanding, Mike Hickman was a youth football coach. There was some sort of argument. It seemed like the referee made a bad call that led to somebody losing the game. A fight occurred. Mike Hickman ended up getting shot by another football coach named Haku Taylor. It bothers me that we had a brother lose his life over a youth football game. Anything that affects black people matters to me. This speaks to a bigger issue that we have in the African American community, and that is hyper masculinity and violence. We have a problem with 30-year-olds who have a mindset of teenagers. We're the ones who are supposed to set an example for the younger generation. These kids are now traumatized. The reason why black wealth is declining in the African American community is because of issues with black men. We know what happens when the CIA flooded drugs in the African American community. We know about Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill, which gave rise to mass incarceration of black men. We know about toxic culture that is being promoted through the music industry, the movie industry, and through mainstream media. The mass production of ignorance and violence is just one way to remove black men from the community. When Malcolm X's bodyguard was interviewed, he said Being around Malcolm gave him a chance of being a man. I ran across a lot of athletes back when I was in college who were warriors on the field but lacked the understanding about the game of life. There's a value that you can gain from sports. For example, values about hard work, discipline, determination, and consistency all can prepare you for the game of life. For me, that is bigger than sports. In Ghettos, Chicago, we will teach our young black youth, both male and female, how to deal with conflict on an emotional viewpoint. I know your favorite rappers make you think it's cool being a hardened criminal, shooting and killing black people. Unfortunately, many young black brothers were not taught that life is not the movies until they face a judge who sentenced them to 25 to life in prison. It takes away their whole youth. My question to all of my listeners, how many of you know a black male who's been murdered by another black male? If so, then please leave a message in the comment section below this video podcast. In Ghettos, Chicago, we will manifest the reality we want to see. Power is the ability to pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. I think the best way to honor Mike Hickman is for all of our listeners worldwide to donate to our film project on our GoFundMe page. I provide the link in the comment section below this video podcast. We will hire qualified black professionals to mentor black youth and how to resolve disputes without leading to violence. It's time for us to stop traumatizing our children. Here's another reason why we need Ghettos, Chicago in the black community. I watched a video entitled Employee Killed at Atlanta Subway Over Too Much Mayonnaise on sandwich, and man charged in shooting of Brooklyn McDonald's worker during cold fries fight. We're getting on code as far as identifying our lineage because white America in the past have imposed terms on us such as referring to us as American Negroes, people of color, and minorities, which allowed other groups to latch onto our struggle and our entitlements. For those of us who are black Americans, we embrace the term DAS, descendants of American slaves, which is our lineage. We're talking about receiving reparation from the American government. We're also pushing for an anti-black hate crime bill. The criminal justice system is getting desperate. I found an article entitled Kansas City Police Won't Respond to Calls as Retaliation Against a Verdict, lawsuit says, unquote. It's about a white officer in Kansas who was convicted of shooting a black man. He only received 6 years, but in retaliation, the police are not responding to certain 911 calls. I provide the entire article on my Medium transcript under show and prove. We have cases from Newsweek entitled, quote, Town's black citizens sue police department over Mississippi's martial law. Unquote. The Lexington Police Department has a white supremacist road cop who's bragging about killing 13 black people. Black citizens filed a lawsuit to protect themselves from the police department. We have a constitutional right to protect ourselves. When we get on code, that's a threat to the dominant society. These are intimidation tactics against black people in America. I found a CNN video clip entitled, quote, Is America Democracy Tittering? Unquote. If elections are not going to serve our interests or not going to be fair, then you're going to see something else occur. The people are going to stop believing in these elections. Dr. King Jr. said if the white establishment does not protect the rights of the people, then the people will protect their rights themselves. Professor Wallens is trying to um, um, he's trying to use his black clergy interpretation to white America. He's not quoting the right people. He's supposed to be a historian, but he's not quoting people like Malcolm X, who warned America about the ballot or the bullet speech. We never hear about an unarmed white woman being gunned down 60 times in the back or an unarmed white man being shot 7 times in the back. Rodney King got beat down in the streets while caught on video, and those white supremacist road cops were all acquitted, which gave rise to the 1992 LA riot. I found another video clip from CNN entitled, quote, "Data shows big shift in Democratic voters. Experts explain what's happening," unquote. I talk about this in my revised book. The financial elites are allowing illegal Latino immigrants over here to maintain the status quo. The status quo is not a white numerical majority. I have discussed this issue with my group members for 2 decades since the creation of GERCAM. The status quo is white social economic majority. They don't care about being in the majority of the population, just as long as they control 75% of the wealth, using the model from South Africa. For example, Atlanta, white owned, black managed. Dr. Claude Anderson said, "Black people own nothing of any consequence. There's no $5 million establishment owned by black people. The financial elites are allowing illegal Latino immigrants to come over here to help booster the labor force in order to neutralize the black vote." Understand, ladies and gentlemen, colonization is about white people becoming comfortable in places that are majority black, like South Africa. This is not just cultural, it's generational. If you really want to know why American democracy is failing, it's because their propaganda is no longer working. Black people are starting to listen to our message. Their democracy cannot be taken serious when you have cases like this from CNN entitled, quote, "Grand Jury Declines to Indict Carolyn Bryant Donahan, the woman whose accusations led to the murder of Emmett Till," unquote. We have an Emmett Till lynching act. The federal government has acknowledged what happened to Emmett Till was a lynching, yet the state government and the federal government claim they convene grand juries. How is it that we have an Emmett Till lynching act, but we can't get justice for him? What good is a democracy that ignores your rights? We have this podcast, our online groups, but I am trying to get us to build Greater Chicago so that we can make our presence known in the black community. I welcome black immigrants from Africa, the Caribbean, and Brazil to come forth and help me build this organization for our inner city youth so that they can have something to be proud of, and for them to visit our brothers and sisters in Africa, the Caribbean, and in Brazil. Nothing will work without the unity of black people. Once Greater Chicago is up and running, then we can focus on helping Africa break free from her shackles of social economic oppression. We will bring our wealth of knowledge and skills to the continent. We don't want this global African awakening to slip away from us. We must jump on it right now. We have God and technology on our side. In contrast, Native Africans or Continental Africans were colonized. They were allowed to keep their culture, language, and religion. A colonized mindset is the internal attitude from people who feel their culture is inferior to Europeans who colonized their country. It's a belief that the cultural values of the colonizers, which in the case of Africa was Europeans, are internally superior to African culture. My vision for Africa, to reconnect continental Africans with the African diaspora so that we can reclaim our ancestral homeland. It's my hope to connect with African immigrants within the United States who will work with me and Sister Renee in rebuilding our urban communities starting in Chicago. Before we expand to Africa, I need my international friends who live in Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Angola, Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Uganda to encourage your family and friends who reside abroad in such places as Canada, Europe, and the United States of America. Tell them about me and encourage them to purchase my revised book, donate to our film project, and send me a friend request to my Facebook page. This will help get the ball rolling. We encourage African immigrants in America to come forth and work with me and Sister Renee in getting this business started in America. First, we will go through the proper channels with their governments to start our NGO, non-government organization. We will offer private employment to our members based on our budget and our sponsorship. We will provide infrastructure for clean running water, agricultural technology to feed the people, offer solar energy to help our members with their electrical generators, and most of all, help improve the African economy. In time, we will expand to the Caribbean and Brazil. The grassroots community activist movement is a 21st century building approach to solving social problems within the Black community and throughout the African diaspora. GRCAM will promote a Black economic empowerment agenda, promoting a strong, sustainable urban community and rural communities through our community advocacy and innovative programs and services. That's all I'm trying to do, y'all. It's a lot of stuff I talked about, but I'm not just trying to talk about this stuff. I'm trying to make it happen. But again, I'm just one Black man with a vision and a plan. It takes a team to make a dream work. All right. So now, with that being said, I'm going to open up the phone lines to our contributors, which is on the panel, and they're going to give their viewpoints. And then once they're done, we're going to open up the phone lines for the general public to get on here and for you all to say your piece and ask specific questions. But most of all, ladies and gentlemen, please donate to this film project, because God knows I want to get this thing up and running in my lifetime. I don't want to be doing this another 30 years. I'd rather be on the African continent working with Africans that want more out of life. But this Willie Lynch mentality, we're going to declare war on that stuff as soon as we get this organization up and running. And this is what I want to be remembered for, trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? This is not cool at all. Family members, they're not, interested in working with me and stuff like that because they're full of Willie Lynch. That's all I can say. But I'm going to keep being me. And I'm glad that my creator has got me from being affected with this Willie Lynch mindset. And I'm here to wake up our brothers and sisters that want to be woke, and those that's not interested. We're going to pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. I'm not responsible for them. I'm only responsible for our members. With that being said, I'm turning the show over now to our panelists.